Hello, my name is Reuben. I'm the Project Steward and co-founder of Firo. And today my message is about fighting for the crypto privacy middle ground, because the only way to legitimize privacy and make it mainstream is to keep bad actors out.
Why is privacy in crypto becoming so extreme? All of nothing.
I think it's not just a problem with crypto. I think we're also seeing in politics, and the extremes are easy to understand because they are the extremes, it's like all or nothing, right? And when you are talking about the middle ground, it's more nuanced, right? It takes longer. There's no like simple bite line. It's like no one wants to listen to, oh, it's like this. Like I was actually explaining it to someone in the conference, and he was like saying, why is it so polarized, right? I mean, it's easy to say, okay, yeah, privacy, it's everything, right? Or my privacy coin is the best. No one wants to hear, oh, it's actually more nuanced, there are certain cases where this works and this doesn't work. That's too long. And in this attention deficit TikTok age, I think no one has enough bandwidth to process all this information, and we're all looking for those quick sound bites. And I think that has also contributed to the polarization of crypto in general. Yeah.
Is regulation always the enemy? Or can it buy us time to build?
I don't necessarily see regulation as an enemy. I think over-regulation is an issue, right? Obviously, there's certain things that need to be guarded. We have a whole wild, wild west, we're allowing all sorts of bad actors. But at the same time, we're having like over-regulation, innovation stops, people get persecuted, nothing actually develops, or it just introduces so many barriers. So I don't necessarily see regulation as always a bad thing. I do think there is a place and time for it. But at the same time, there's also a place where, you're building things that is above a regulation, because we also have to push the norm, not just like follow what's the norm currently. Yeah.
What's one trade-off solution that actually worked?
I mean, I don't think especially for privacy, none of the solutions work until they don't, right? Like for example, like the thing that we developed at Firo with Zcash as well, which was like exchange addresses and transparent tax addresses, as they call it. It worked, and then, well, it's debatable whether it'll work in the future, but its work, it kept us listed, on the largest exchange in the world. I do think also privacy pools, is a great idea with the Railgun's POI. But again, how do we know whether it works until we see how the regulation develops around it? I think it's a constant battle there. So I think these are two good examples where there's a good trade-off, between balancing individual privacy with, disallowing bad actors, privacy for the good guys. So yeah, but I don't think there's one solution that will always work. Regulation always changes, and the new challenges always changes as well. Yeah.
What's the biggest myth about privacy coin?
I think the biggest one is that the only thing that we're good for is money laundering and illicit activity. I go to a crypto conferences and say, oh yeah, you're the guy that helps with money laundering and stuff like that. So unfortunately, some in the privacy community, especially like Monero being the poster boy for privacy coins, some within the community actually sort of they champion criminal usage, saying, yeah, criminals use us because we work, and I think that's a really dangerous myth that doesn't do any favors to any privacy project or privacy in general at all. Yeah.
What's your message to privacy maximalists?
I respect the stance. I really respect what they're building, and I do think that they should continue doing what they're doing. But at the same time, also respect those that are taking the middle ground. We are trying to make privacy accessible to the masses and keeping that fight. I think it's important to make sure that privacy isn't made into like a barrier or some sort of, really niche category. I mean, there is a place for this, definitely always, but we also should fight for the regular Joe as well, and that's why I think it's, that's what my talk is all about fighting for that middle ground and respecting that fight, rather than saying, oh, we are sellouts, or we are, selling out individual liberties, or playing catchball with regulators as well. Of course, there is always a line. Where that line is depends from individual to individual, or from project to project. But I think we should champion that as long as we are all promoting privacy in not invasive ways, we should be all, at least, even though respecting each other's views, but still working together to build useful privacy tools.
Citizens, not suspects.
Yes.
Go ahead. Tell
Yeah, so I mean, this idea that, we often forget, even the whole idea of privacy proofs of proofs of innocence. I have to prove that I'm innocent when, all this while we should be innocent until proven guilty. We shouldn't have to prove innocence, which is sometimes quite tough to do, right? I've been the subject of wrong raids where the police raided me for the wrong reasons, which I wouldn't go into details, but I guess the idea is that governments are there to, govern, but they're not there to control us. We have to remember that, the US government shouldn't be spying on its own citizens. What Edward Snowden said, it's not always about fighting crime. I don't think there is actually really good evidence that all this surveillance actually help in protecting individual citizens. So just a reminder that we are citizens, not suspects. So even if we have nothing to hide, we should remember that we shouldn't be just giving it all away, because we should be innocent until proven guilty.